Alright, so in this video we are going to be ranking track events based on their difficulty in terms of their technical and physical aspects. So to start off here, we got long jump. So if I'm going to be honest, I'm going to put it in the pretty easy to learn category. I don't know if any other events are going to go here. You know, physically wise, it doesn't take much to do this event. It's more of like a technical thing. I've seen just pretty athletic kids who've never ran track before do this for the first time and get like 19 to 20 feet. Obviously it takes a lot of training to get into the professional field of long jump, but that's basically the same thing with every other event. This event basically just has like the most naturals at it. Like you can just be pretty athletic and do really well in this event. So the next event is the 100-meter dash. So this one's probably one of my favorites to watch. Now physically wise, this one isn't like too hard. I will say it's more technical than the 200-meter dash. Like every little aspect of the race matters. One little mistake can really push you back multiple placements. But realistically, like if you're just naturally fast, you know, you can be pretty good at this event. So I'm not gonna put it all the way at the bottom, but I'm gonna put it in like the not too bad category. Again, it will take years of training to get into the professional field of this event. But I've seen a lot of people run track for the first time and do really well in an event like this. So now our next event is triple jump. So this is basically like another long jump, but it has more of a technical aspect to it. If you come into track for the first time and you're naturally a really good long jumper, that doesn't mean you're going to naturally be good at triple jump. It's going to take some time to actually learn it. Now as a triple jumper myself, I will say the hardest thing about triple jump is dealing with like minor injuries in your legs, like shin splints, or something that I really struggled with, my ankles. So this event can be kind of physically demanding, especially on your lower legs, and technical wise it does require a lot of practice to become good at. So I'm gonna put this one up here in the takes a lot of time to perfect category. Alright, now we got high jump. So in my opinion, for all field events, this one is the least physically demanding. I did this my sophomore year for a little bit. I wasn't very good at it. I didn't really care too much for it. It's really exciting to watch though. It's really hard to come into this event for the first time and be a natural at it. That just doesn't happen in high jump. So I definitely think it takes a lot more practice than triple jump. I'm going to put it in the same category only because I don't really think it's very physical demanding like triple jump is. Alright, now we got discus. So I know nothing about these throwing events really, so please don't judge me for where I rank these. So compared to shot put, I feel like discus is a little more physically demanding, and technical wise I feel like it's harder just like watching it. So I think I'm gonna just put it in the normal difficulty. Alright, now we got pole vault, probably the most exciting field event for me to watch. So this one, I think it takes a lot of time just to even learn how to do it in the first place. Compared to all other field events, this one's probably the hardest to learn. Not only is this a very technical event, it's also very physically demanding, as you need a lot of core strength to be able to kick your legs up. Also, a lot of speed is very important in this event. So with that being said, I'm going to put this all the way at the top into the hardest events to ever endure. Although it's not like physically demanding like the 400 and the 800, I think with all the technical aspects that goes into this event, this is the perfect spot for it. Alright, now we got the 400-meter dash. So everybody knows how physically demanding the 400-meter dash is, and I feel like someone going into track for the first time who's naturally fast would still need to take some time to work up the endurance to be able to sprint the 400 meters. I've seen multiple people go into the 400-meter dash for the very first time and running low 50s just naturally, but that really doesn't happen often. It definitely takes a lot of time to work up that endurance. But I feel like if you really learn how to run the 400-meter dash, it's not as hard as everybody makes it out to be. So in that case, I'm going to put it in the category that it takes a lot of time to perfect. It's not going to be the hardest event to endure because I feel like it's really not that bad if you learn how to run it, but that doesn't mean it's an easy event either. Alright, now we got the 200-meter dash, and right off the rip I think I'm going to put it in the normal difficulty. Unlike the 100-meter dash, you do have a little more room for error, but this one could take a little more time to perfect, as you do need more sprinting endurance in this one, and it could take some time to learn how to run on the curve as well. Alright, now for shot put, with me not knowing too much about throwing, I feel like it's easier than discus. I feel like you definitely need to be stronger for shot put. I feel like discus is a lot more harder to get the form down. So in that case, I'm going to put it in the not too bad category. Now, please don't come at me because I don't really know too much about throwing, so it's kind of hard to rank them. Alright, so now we got some distance events coming up here. So the 1600 meter run obviously is very physically demanding, but I feel like as you get more competitive at it, it also takes a lot of planning and strategy to be able to run this race efficiently. I've only ran this event a couple times. I've never done it really competitively, but from what I've heard from other competitive 1600 meter runners is that if you actually learn how to run it right, it's not too painfully bad, only near the end. I've heard that the 400 meter dash is a lot worse, but I think there's more of like planning and strategy in this event, so that's why I'm going to put it in the same category. I think that's fair because it takes a lot of time to work up the endurance for this event, and you need to have a strategy going into it. So now for the 800 meter run, I've never really learned how to run this event correctly, but in my opinion, I feel like this event is way more physically demanding than the 400 meter dash. So I never really knew this, but when I went to the Wisconsin State meet, the way people run this competitively is to positive split the second lap. So basically you go out as hard as you can in the first lap, and then you try to hold up all that momentum in the second lap the best you can. In the past when I've ran this event, it basically feels like a 400 meter dash, but you got to keep running at the end of it. So in that case, I'm going to put it all the way at the top with pole vault in the hardest events to endure. So now we got the 3200 meter run. A lot of people talk about how boring this event it is, and I completely agree. Me personally, I've ran it in the past multiple times, not like competitively, but just for points for the team. And realistically, like running like an all-out 2 mile isn't too difficult, like if you run it right. I feel like it's definitely not as hard as the 1600, especially when it comes to like strategy. I don't think there's really as much strategy when it comes to this race. So in that case, I'm just gonna put it in the normal difficulty category. Alright, now we got both of the hurdle events. As someone who's ran the 110 meter hurdles for the past few years now, it takes a lot of athleticism to be good at something like this. You need to have really long strides, which basically comes from being fast, so you need to have a good 100 meter dash time to be able to run this event. Not only do you need to have a lot of speed for this event, it's also very technical, learning how to go over the hurdles with good form. You definitely want to make sure you have good strong hip flexors before learning how to hurdle. So obviously someone coming into track for the first time who's naturally really fast, it's still going to take them a lot of time to actually learn how to hurdle because most people don't naturally have that ability in them. So in that case, I'm going to put this up here in the takes a lot of time to perfect category. Now we got the 300 meter hurdles. The 110 meter hurdles correlates with the 100 meter dash because you want to have that speed for that event. But the 300 meter hurdles would correlate with the 400 meter dash because you need to have that sprinting endurance to be able to run this event. And being that the 400 meter dash is a lot harder than the 100 meter dash, most people would assume that the 300 meter hurdles is a lot harder than the 110s. I've seen really great 400 meter runners run the 300 meter hurdles with absolutely no form whatsoever and still win and perform well. So although the 300 meter hurdles is a lot more physically demanding than the 110, I feel like the 110s are just a lot harder technical wise. So in that case, I'm going to put the 300 meter hurdles underneath in the normal difficulty. Alright, again, this is just my opinion of how difficult I think these track events are. And just because I have these events down here doesn't mean I feel like they're really easy, because when it comes to the professional field, it takes years of time and practice to be able to perfect these events. Alright, so I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you guys disagree on anything, I'd really appreciate if you would let me know in the comments, and I would like to have a discussion with you about it.